Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark, a.k.a. Derringer. Today is Sunday, October 15th, and you are listening to episode 127 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for Planetside 2 news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. So, first off, as always, what have I been up to this past week? Well, I finally did it on my NC character. I hit BR 120. After ending last week's show, I said I was going to log in and play. Yeah, I logged in and I just powered through it, trying to get to BR 120, and I finally did on my NC character. So it's a long time coming, and it's only because I play a couple hours a night, a couple days a week, not like some of you die-hard players out there who play the game nonstop 24/7 to power level yourselves as soon as you can to the highest level within the game itself. It did take me a lot longer than I expected. Now, the unexpected after effect of hitting BR 120 on my NC character, I have zero desire to play New Conglomerate anymore. And I didn't think that would be something that I would say almost immediately after hitting BR 120. And I wonder if other players who have maxed out their battle rank run into the same feelings or situation that I do in this particular case. Now, as I've told you guys thousands upon thousands of times, I play on the Emerald server. Right now, Terran Republic seems to be the most overpopped faction on the server, so very rarely do I ever get to play my Terran Republic character. NC is usually underpopped or pretty even with Vanu, so we've been playing a lot of NC lately. Very rarely do I play my Vanu character, which is kind of sad. But so, like I said, last Sunday I hit BR 120 on NC, logged out, went to bed, logged in the next day, and what are we playing? We're playing NC again, and I was kind of fed up with it and logged out and didn't play. And I think I played a couple times during the week, but I can't tell you how happy I was when I logged in on Friday and during Emerald Fight Night found out that we were playing Vanu, and I played for a little while on Vanu and had a good time, but had to go to bed early because I had quite the weekend. Lots of college visits right now. If you are someone who is in college, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you are someone who is out of college, is starting a family or whatnot, you will eventually get to the point that I am with my daughter, where we're going to colleges every weekend, and it's a never-ending string of college visits, I will certainly tell you. And not to get too personal into my life, but I don't know how we're going to afford college, but that's neither here nor there. What else do I got to talk about this week? Thanks again, everybody who's using my various links out there, my Amazon link in particular. Thank you to everybody who's a patron on Patreon as well. Also, anybody who's making direct donations via PayPal. I greatly appreciate everybody's support within the game itself. Like I've always said, you guys are what are keeping this podcast cost neutral for me, and it's just one of the reasons that I continue to push this podcast out week after week after week. Besides the fact that I absolutely love Planetside 2. I can't get enough of the game. Even though I may be tired of playing NC right now. That'll change, don't worry. I'll play a lot more NC. But with that, what is actually in store for this week's show? Well, first we have some new goodies from Doku to talk about, and that's in the form of Empire-specific submachine guns. And then after that, we have a new hire at Daybreak Games to talk about. And finally, I'm going to ask the question, is it time for a culling? And give you guys my thoughts and more on that. So strap in as we hot drop into another episode of the Instant Action Podcast. All right, so as I said, first up this week, courtesy of Doku, and Doku, I don't know what the hell you're doing out there, but I'm just, I said it on Twitter that you just do gorgeous work. If you guys haven't been over to Twitter yet, go over there. Planetside tweeted it. It's also on Reddit. I'll include a link to the Reddit post about it. But we have 3 new Empire-specific submachine guns that are coming out. Now, they're not released yet. We don't really know much about them. No real big reveal on what their stats are or anything like that. They're just submachine guns. But we have what they actually look like. And just to describe them quickly, the Vanu Sovereignty one looks like it almost looks like it has a flamethrower attachment on it, which I know it doesn't, but it's got this little canister thing on the front of it that looks like where the flame portion of it would come out, and it's got like a tri-barrel front to it. Clearly it's a beam weapon. It's got a really cool looking scope on it. The new conglomerate one is definitely an interesting looking one. It's got one of those rectangular barrels on the front of it. It looks really cool. Has a collapsible stock built into it. Obviously, I don't think you can collapse it, but it has a collapsible stock built into it. And the Terran Republic one, well, first off, the biggest identifying mark on this one is it has one of the side clips, like the Sten. If you've played any of the World War games, you'll know the Sten because it's got the clip that comes out the side of the gun itself. But also it has 3 barrels on the front of it, or it has like a triangle-shaped barrel with 3 points for bullets to come out of it. So it really fits that Terran Republic, we're going to fire a hell of a lot of ammo at you theme in that particular submachine gun. Like I said, the VS one clearly looks like it's going to be some sort of energy beam type, not a beam type weapon, but an energy weapon, much like all Vanu weapons are. And clearly the NC one looks like it's just going to be a hard-hitting, close combat submachine gun. As I said, Doku does some absolutely amazing work on the stuff that he's putting together. And I know I read that he was working with Wrel on some ideas, bouncing them back and forth, and that's where a lot of these designs actually came from, kind of a little collaboration work between them. Really good stuff from Doku. And I know, based on the Reddit post as well, that we're not just stopping here, because Doku confirmed that he's done 5 weapons per faction. So, I mean, I know we've been teased a couple pictures on the last 2 dev live streams of what the LMGs are going to look like for TR and NC, but clearly it means we're looking at, obviously he's done the SMGs, we've seen those, we know we have a line of LMGs coming out, we most likely have a line of carbines coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if we have maybe some battle rifles or assault rifles, or sniper rifle would be an interesting one coming out of Doku himself. And Doku says that he has been a 3D artist for over 15 years, so I'm certainly not surprised with the quality of work that he's actually churning out on these things that he's producing. I mean, if you haven't seen these, you're doing yourself a disservice. And again, pause this episode, or while listening to this episode, go over to the Reddit post about it, or go over to Twitter and see what these things look like, because they absolutely look amazing. I will own the new conglomerate one when it comes out. I can guarantee you that. because I just absolutely love the way it works. And Doku, if you're listening to this and you want to design a Derringer pistol for the folks over at Daybreak Games, so Wrel can finally come through on that little promise he made to me, or the thing he said they would be working on for me, I would love you to do that. Obviously, all I can do is get down on my knees and pray that produce something like that. Again, these are awesome. Again, on the flip side, we don't know too much about them. So at this point, we just kind of got to sit and drool over what these things look like and go from there. And with that, let's move on to our second topic this week. And topic number 2 comes courtesy of a live stream that Wrel had on Saturday. If you missed the live stream, he was flying around an ESF to begin with, answering people's questions, but the funny thing was that he was doing push-ups because he had been killed in his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pajama bottoms, and Wrel rocking those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pajama bottoms, doing push-ups. Big props to you. I don't believe that I would be on stream wearing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pajama bottoms, but good for you on that. But that's not really what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the fact that he confirmed on the stream that a UI developer has been hired by Daybreak Games. Now, just because someone's been hired doesn't mean that they're ready to kind of throw him to the wolves, as it were, which is the player base or the Reddit community or the forum community, etc. We just have to know that they have hired a UI developer, and hopefully that means we'll be seeing some of the sweet UI stuff that's coming down the pipeline. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this is kind of twofold, because I wanted to bring people's attentions back to the work that Vindicore has been doing on his Planetside upgrade project website. Now, while he hasn't done a lot of updates recently, I think the last one he did was back in March when he was working on what he called the Frontline Initiative, but he has done a lot of interesting stuff over here with a command overhaul. In addition to that, a whole outfit overhaul. That's actually a big one, and one I'm hoping that whoever this UI designer is or developer is, that the first thing or one of the first things that they're doing when they sit down with them is saying, go over to the Planetside Upgrade Project website. If you just Google Planetside Upgrade Project, you'll find it. And hopefully they're going to sit down and see the outfit tab, the command overhaul tab that Vindicore has here. I mean, the outfit tab in particular has so many great additional things on it that are things I'd love to see brought into the game itself. That, like I said, I really have my fingers crossed that the UI developer is being sat down and shown things like an optional way to display message of the days at login, an outfit calendar with links to events, statistics built into it, an outfit weapon sale built into it, or the outfit uniform that could be on sale, ratings for the outfits, things like that. Also on the player screen, things as simple as your KDR, your score per minute, a specialism that you prefer, certain things like that. Some ways to edit ranks. Like I said, you've got to go over to the Planetside Upgrade Project if you haven't before to see all the various different things that I'm talking about. But again, the outfit stuff that Vindicore has put together is some really good stuff. The command overhaul stuff that he's done is really good, and a lot of it is UI stuff and little tweaks that the outfit leaders and squad leaders and platoon leaders should be able to do, or should have been able to do in the game for a long time now, but just are things that aren't in the game because we haven't had a full-time UI programmer in a long time. So I just have my fingers crossed sitting here that whoever this UI programmer is that they're going to be shown this stuff and seen all this work that Vindicore's done. In addition, I would assume that over at Daybreak Games, they've kind of got maybe a folder, and I know folder's not the right term, but you guys know what I mean, a folder where they've got a list of all these different UI things that they'd like to have changed or updated or fixed or rebuilt within the game itself. And I'm hoping a lot of the stuff that Vindicore has suggested is in that particular folder that they're handing off to the new UI developer. So again, I'm excited that we finally have a UI developer, and I hope once again that a lot of the stuff Vindicore's already put together is already in the hands of that UI developer. Now, the other thing that Wrel confirmed on his stream, and it's not so much has to do with this UI developer stuff, because I think that was the biggest piece of news out of it, but he did confirm that pumpkin hunting is going to begin on the 20th, so that is this Friday coming up. So get ready for that to do all your various pumpkin hunting. That's when you'll be able to buy your cosmetic helmets again. You'll be able to buy the slasher again. You'll be able to buy the candy cannon again if you don't have it. That's when they're going to start selling the fiery tires for the Flash and the Harasser. I know a lot of people are certainly interested in those things. Plus, that's when they're going to roll out all those new directives under the seasonal Nanite of the Living Dead event. I know that I will be working on a whole bunch of those. And again, one little thing that I forgot to mention when I was talking about it on last week's show is don't forget, if you're not BR120 like I am, you should be equipping one of the Halloween helmets while you're playing, because there is an experience boost. I believe it's 10% if you're using just the jack-o'-lantern helmet, and I think some of the other ones go up to 25% depending on what they are. So remember during the event to make sure you put on at least that pumpkin helmet so you can get a little boost to your experience as well. I guess that's all I really want to talk about on this particular topic. Like I said, I'm very excited that a UI developer is now at Daybreak Games. It will probably be a slow ramp up for them to get acclimated with Planetside 2, because it doesn't sound like there's someone that was already at Daybreak Games working on another game. It sounds like it's somebody from outside the company itself that has joined Daybreak Games, and certainly if that's the case, they need to come up to speed on the game itself. Maybe they play it, maybe they don't play it, I don't know. Again, we don't have a lot of information at this particular time, but it is good news that they have a UI developer now who will be working on the game. And with that, let's move on to the next two topics, which are kind of similar but sort of different. All right, first up is the question I need to ask, and these next two topics are both about a culling. And everybody knows a culling is, a cutting or a paring back of something. Usually it has to deal with culling populations, which means killing a lot of people in the population, or culling a bunch of trees in a forest, things like that. Culling definitely has a negative connotation to it, but it is really the best way to kind of describe what we're talking about. So the first question is, and this was prompted by a Reddit post, is it time to cull the actual character base? And this was one that was posted by, or put out by James Wildcat on Reddit itself. And he was reintroducing his wife to the game, and she wanted to start with a different character, this time on New Conglomerate. But unfortunately, she had a lot of trouble picking a character name because, in her opinion, all the good character names had been taken. And he decided to sit back and make a list of all the ones that she tried. And whenever he went to the character or the Planetside player page to check out who that person is, stats and things like that, every single one that he looked at, he got the "this character is out of date" message, which means that the statistics for that character are more than 60 days old, and therefore that character has not been played in at least 60 days, which made me kind of sit back and realize that we are about to come up to Planetside 2's 4th anniversary, and it's interesting that they have not done any sort of culling like this, where they take some of these old names and kind of recycle them back in. I know other games have done this. EVE Online is probably the most recognizable game that did this. They didn't delete any old characters, but they changed a lot of the names to generic ones. And they also sent emails out to people warning them that it was going to happen. And I think that we're in a time for Planetside 2 that it's time something like this did happen. Now, we do have one caveat to this, and that's anyone who was in the beta or was an Alpha Squad member, I believe, not beta, an Alpha Squad member. Like, I'm an Alpha Squad member. I was promised that I could claim a name early on, and then that I would never lose that name. So obviously I went in and claimed Derringer as one of my character names. So if they are a Alpha Squad member, that name can't be changed. That name can't be taken away. That's fine. But I think that there are a lot more out there that are not Alpha Squad members that have not played the game in a number of maybe years at this point, but I mean, over 60 days. I don't think it would be too difficult for Daybreak Games to do a mass email to everybody who has a character that has not been played in over, let's just say, an arbitrary 3 years or 2 years, maybe a better time frame. That anybody who hasn't logged into a specific character in 2 years, that they could be subject to this culling. And again, this culling should be in the form of changing them into a generic name like New Conglomerate Soldier 1263. And just have them be some simple generic name. Terran Republic Soldier 532. And then you get sort of, you still would not lose your character, and you could obviously pay for a rename if you wanted to. But if you haven't played your character in over a year, chances are you're probably not at this point logging back into it. And this would give a chance for Daybreak Games to actually earn some cash, because if they announce that this is happening and then they give a 30-day time, say they send the email and then they wait 30 days and then they make the culling, people would know that the culling is happening in 30 days, and then they might get a bunch of people either creating a new character and picking up some of those lost names, or some people might be willing to spend that $25 for a name change token and pick up one of those old names that is no longer being used. I think we're at a point within the game itself that it's time for something like that to happen. And that kind of neatly segues into the next topic this week. So let's roll right into that. And that next topic is another Reddit post put out by Arkler, and he clearly was influenced by the name culling one and put together some statistics about outfits and dead fits. And dead fits are obviously an outfit that no longer plays the game itself. And he pulled all 38,267 outfits in the game as of a couple days ago, and had some interesting numbers to the outfit sizes. The most interesting one is that there are 302 outfits in the game right now with no characters in them. And I know that a lot of these were ones that got affected by the outfit bug not too long ago that was kicking people out of outfits. But for Daybreak Games to have 302 outfits with no characters in it, I think those should probably all be deleted at this point and recycled back into the game itself. The other shocking number was that there are over 15,000 outfits in the game that only have one player in them. And I know I'm kind of to blame for that as well. I do have an instant action podcast outfit with just one character in it. I don't even remember what character I have in it. I think it's just it might be my Vanu on Connery might be in that outfit. So I'm one of those over 15,000 outfits in the game itself that only has one. But I mean, there's another 9,000 that only have two, another 5,000 that only have three, another 2,800 that have four, and another 1,700 that have five. And I mean, that's a huge number of outfits within the game itself that have, five or less players in them. Maybe five's okay. Four's probably okay. If you're really in an outfit with only 3, 2, or 1 people in it, how are you actually doing anything in game? I mean, I think a 20 or 30 person outfit is a much healthier outfit than a 3-person outfit. And, go ahead, send your hate mail into me if you're in that 3-person outfit who does some amazing things. But I think getting up into larger numbers, even 10 people, that's a full squad. I think a squad of 10 can get more done than an outfit of 3 in a particular case like this. So I guess the question is it time to start culling some of these outfits or dead fits from the game itself? And Arkler did a little bit more digging within it itself based on some feedback from people, and pulled out all the outfits that had 30 or more players in them that have not logged into the game in over a year. And I mean, there's quite a lot of them. I mean, the biggest one on the list is Space Murica. They're a Connery outfit with 108 members. None of those 108 members have logged into the game in over a year. Or the NC 501st, which is a Briggs outfit with 107 members in it. None of those members have logged in the past year. We have a Miller outfit called Miller Server, which has 92 members who haven't logged in over a year. We have a Cobalt outfit called Dominator's outfit with 87 players in it. They haven't logged in over a year. The biggest Emerald one is called Celestial Being. They have 71 members, and they haven't logged in over a year. I mean, these are the true definition of a dead fit within the game itself. And I kind of wonder if it's time that some of these outfits kind of get recycled back in as well. I think the same deal as with the characters that I just talked about. If it's been 2 years since those characters have logged in, they're going to get rolled up into that same thing. And if you get, after that email goes out with the characters, if you get a whole bunch of outfits that are in the same boat, let's start deleting these outfits and just releasing these players back into the wild and releasing some of these outfit names. I mean, I'm sure somebody would love to take the USNC alien, the name Space Murica goes by USNC. I'm sure someone would love to pick up USNC. Miller Server goes by M1LR. I'm sure someone would love to pick that up. There's certainly a bunch of cool ones in here that I'm sure a few people would love to pick up and use for whatever reason. So I think in addition to it being time to have a character culling, I think it's time that we have a dead outfit culling as well within the game itself. Follow the exact same rules as the character one. If no one in the outfit is logged in within 2 years, and after you send the character stuff out, or if you send the email and it says both characters and outfits, maybe you send a special email to the outfit leader, letting them know that they're going to lose their outfit. That could work as well. But I think there are certainly some people out there that are done playing Planetside 2 and don't care if they lose their character name or lose their outfit name at this point. Again, the only one where there's some sort of issue is if they're an Alpha Squad member with a character name. But Alpha Squad has nothing to do with outfit names. And I'm sure getting some of these outfit names back into the game itself is not a bad thing. So I'm hoping that somewhere down the line, maybe the beginning of 2018, that Daybreak Games decides that this is something that needs to be done. I think now is about time we start releasing some of this stuff back into the game itself. But that's all I've got for this topic. I'm curious if other people agree with me on this whole culling thing. Again, if I hadn't played a character in over 2 years, I'm not likely to log into that character. So that any argument otherwise kind of, I'm not really going to be listening to it. Again, Alpha Squad is really the only exception to this that I can really think of. So again, if you have an opinion on this, call me, leave me a voicemail, send me an email. I'm curious what everybody's thoughts on this are as well. But with that, let's move on to housekeeping this week.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
I coming anyway?
All right, so for housekeeping, unfortunately, no emails, no voicemails. I did get somebody calling me but not leaving me a message again this week. Please just leave a message. Even if it's Derringer, you suck. I'll play it on the show, don't worry. But with that, how can you get in touch? With that, that's going to be it for this week's show. So how can you get in touch with me or the show? As always, my website, www.instantactionpodcast.com. That's where you're going to find everything about the show, including links to all the topics and everything that I talk about on this week's show. You can always send me an email as well, instantactionshow@gmail.com. I read all emails on the show. Anyone who sent me that knows that. Call me, leave me a voicemail, 347-4VM-4PS2, or the digits 347-486-4772. Follow the show on Twitter @InstActPodcast, or follow me personally on Twitter @TheDerringer. So in closing, if you've enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. And finally, thanks for listening, and keep spamming that Join Combat, formerly known as Instant Action button.